Luskin, and I am a career specialist at JVS, Jewish Vocational Service, and we're located in East Orange and in Montclair, New Jersey. So like we always start, I want to tell you a little bit about JVS, Jewish Vocational Service. We were founded in 1939, and we help people who face obstacles finding employment. We help them get back on their feet. And our job seekers programs, which these webinars are part of, are fully funded by the Jewish Federation of Greater Metro West and by Project M, and we thank them so much for their support and their generosity. So this morning, I'm very excited to welcome our guest speaker, Maya Ollson. Maya is the founder and director of Kokopella High Touch Outplacement. Maya's corporate and individual clients have dubbed her the resume queen because she knows how to develop resumes that get interviews, coach clients on how to cultivate an offer, and negotiate to achieve results. Maya started Kokopella in 2007 after having worked for years as a career consultant for top outplacement companies. She's the author of The Road to Job Search Success, a clear roadmap to conduct a professional job search. And I will be putting her information, how you can reach out to Maya, in the follow-up email that I always do after our webinars. It's being recorded, so you're going to be able to I'll send you a link for the YouTube as well. And today, Maya is going to discuss how to increase your chance of being hired by adding a powerful step and reversing the order of a common job search activity. And this really works, guys, so pay attention. Okay, welcome, Maya, over to you.
Thank you so much, Eliza. It's nice to be here with you and Hannah. And it's nice to be with all of you as job seekers. I run Kokopella. It's an outplacement company. We work with both individuals and corporations. And I've found that what we know makes sense. I've been told a number of times, I've been told my resumes work. A career consultant, a candidate and HR manager and career consultant said, you know, your book really works. It's a great book. She says, I think it's the best one on the market. And so I'm hearing that kind of feedback, and I say, how do I bring that to all of you to help you take a next step? And I've done versions of this presentation, and I've had people tell me it's literally changed their job search. And one man said, you know, it changed my life. So let me help you learn some things that will help you in the search. Now, what I'm about to teach you, it's not rocket science, although you will find that this is not necessarily strategies and tactics for a new job seeker who's just learning how to do a job search. These are more advanced techniques. And what we're focusing on is efficiency and effectiveness. What can you do in the shortest amount of time? And we're not saying no time, but you know, where you really have economy of time. And what can you do that's going to make a difference? It's not a time filler. Oh, yeah, I'm just online. All right, let me apply. Oh, yeah, I could do that job. I'll apply to that. No, do the things that are going to make a difference in your search. And we're focusing on two main strategies and some fillers that will help you in your job search. So it's a matter of learning what are those right things to do and doing them in the right quantity. And these are definitely two of the right things to do. But you're not just going to be walk in and be able to do them. It's going to take that you see, if you're on this session, it's because you're not getting enough purchase out of your search. And you're going, oh, you know, it's taking too long, or I'm not getting to the people I want, or it's not working. Okay, so that means what you're doing is not as effective as you want it to be. And then you need to be doing different things that are more effective. So this is going to require you to look at what are your habits, and are you doing the right things in the right quantity? Are you getting the purchase that you need out of those activities? If you're going to change, this is going to require some change, not necessarily a big change, but it's going to take some stretching. You know, that involves some risk because you could fall flat on your face, but you also could be very successful. And that's what these are designed to do, is to help you be successful at doing them. So, you know, you're going to do some skill stretching, and that's not bad. That's going to help you feel better overall. You know, when you exercise afterwards, your muscles go, oh, same kind of thing. You're going to stretch those muscles so that you're developing them. And in time, you do these a few times and you'll have the finesse that you need, because these are advanced techniques. They're not ones that you can just, just dumble your way into and hope you're going to do them well. And one of the nice things about this is it not only makes you a better candidate, but it makes you a better person because you're coming out the door better skilled. So one of the things I want you to do is stop applying for jobs online first. And that's a very serious error on your part. And let me tell you why. Companies feel that whoever introduces you to the company, that's who owns you. So, okay, if you introduce yourself to the company, then you own you and you're introducing yourself. If a recruiter introduces you, okay, that recruiter introduces you, but no other recruiter can introduce you. And yeah, you could apply online, but it's not going to have as much clout because that person already introduced you. So you're wasting some of your effort. So we all think that online is a black hole, and in some ways it is. Okay, so don't apply online. Instead, I want you to be referred in, and I mean a genuine referral. I had one candidate that I was working with. She happens to be a chapter member. I'm in one of the SHRM chapters for human resources. And, her cousin said, hey, there's a job over there. Why don't you, it looks like it's good for you. And so when they said, who referred you to the company, she put in her cousin's name. That's not being referred in. You need to find someone, whether you know them or not, cultivate a relationship if you have to, because being referred in, a genuine referral, we're going to talk about that. It doesn't just increase your chances of being interviewed. It increases your chances of being hired by 40%. That's big time. If you apply online, first, you blow that opportunity. If you do the work and learn the skill to be able to get someone to refer you in, even a stranger, and I'll teach you about that, that increases your chances of being hired by 40%. So what do we got to do? We got to help you get in and be referred. I'm sorry, that's my error. I'm pressing a little too hard. So let's talk about how do you find someone? Thank God for LinkedIn. I joined LinkedIn in 2002 because my clients were coming to me and saying, you tell me to network. I don't know anybody. And I learned of LinkedIn and I said, okay, so what if I joined LinkedIn and I invited all my clients to be joined on with me on LinkedIn, and then they invited people. And what you have, I have millions of contacts to share. LinkedIn took away 4.5 million of my contacts because I had too many. Okay, fine. You want them? You can have them. But your goal is to use LinkedIn as a tool because it's such a plethora. And by the way, you'll see at the end, feel free to send me a LinkedIn invitation. I'd be happy to accept your invitation so you can use my millions of contacts. So you've got to find someone. It doesn't have to be someone in the functional area that you're going to. It could be, but you also might bump into the wrong person, someone who's also wanting to apply to that, or you might even bump into hiring manager. And ideally, you want to be referred to the hiring manager, not bump into the hiring manager, at least yet. You don't want to ask HR to refer you in. They can't. That's considered a conflict of interest. So find someone, go into LinkedIn, you got the company name, find someone who's in that company and start looking around. Who are the contacts and see what different positions they are. Now, LinkedIn starts out as an email system. You have to quickly get past the email. You want to cultivate the relationship, which means you've got to talk with them, ideally be with them, but you're not. You're going to talk with them. So you want to create something that's an inviting email. Hi, Bill. I'm Maya Ollson, and I'm very interested in your company. And I'm hoping that you'll be open to learning what a great fit I am for a job and refer me in. Being referred increases my chances of being hired by 40%. You tell them that. That's a key reason why they should help you. This way, I'll get a great job and you'll benefit from the employee referral program. And just do a very short pause and say, when might you be able to talk, Bill? So some people are going to say yes to this. The employee referral program, and it depends upon your position and it depends upon the company. It could be as low as $200 or $300 for them to refer you in. If they were referring someone in on the C-suite, it could be $30,000 if they found someone who was then hired by the company and they referred them in. So my guess is 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 might be what this employee gets from referring you in. There are some people in companies that make sure they refer people in so that they have an additional stream of money, which comes from the employee referral program. So if a person says, no, not interested, you don't hear from them, then go right back in and find the next person. Time is of essence here. One, you don't want this job to get very old because other people are applying and are getting in. Some of them are going to get in through the black hole of applying online. Some of the people are going to be referred in. So, where you can, you want to be quick about this. And you've got one name, you don't hear from them, go on to the next, go on to the next, go on to the next.
Maya, this is Elisa. May I just share a very, very quick story?
Sure, please do.
Yeah, so guys, I actually did this years ago. I was pleasantly so delighted. So maybe it was 20 years ago, when I was working at Kraft Foods, and a friend reached out to me that her friend's sister was looking for an entry-level job at Kraft. And I'm like, oh wow, I'll meet with her for coffee. And I thought she was terrific. And I referred her in. So I ended up getting money. I got like $1,000. What it did was I was not only best, I would have done it even without the money, but money sure was helpful. And what it did was it made me really vested in helping her prepare as she was going through the interviews, telling her about the company. And this woman ended up rising through Kraft, and she did really, really well. So I was just really, really proud of her. And so from self-satisfaction to being able to help someone, and I got a little bit of money. So that was good as well. So what Maya is saying, like I said to you guys in the beginning, guys, this is really a game changer. Thank you, Maya.
Thank you. That's a great example. As I said in the beginning, this is not rocket science, but it's trying on new behaviors. It's trying on new techniques. It's trying on using a different strategy to penetrate that job search veil, and where you're getting into where you can make and develop a relationship and move deeper into the process. It takes time. So it's up to you to work on this, because you will bump into someone like Elisa who says, sure, and then gets invested in it. That person really is a great ally in helping you prepare for what's going on in the company, what's going on in the department, what is the culture like. You have a whole bunch of ammunition that you can tap. And it's just like Lisa said, she said, let's get together for coffee. And these days it's probably more, let's get together for Zoom, but maybe you could get together for coffee. But what she said is, she looked at the person's background. Now, this only works when you're a good fit. This doesn't work for a job where you go, well, I could do that. Or that I don't really have background in that, but that would be interesting. No, this is for where you fit, so that the person who is referring you in can see it. It's clear. Your resume shows it. It sells you. Your cover letter, it sells you. You package them together so that this candidate, this referee is going to want to send you in and vouch for you. And they would do something like this. I'd have them go to two places with this. First, I'd have you want to have customized resume, customized cover letter that you write to the job ad that you're interested in. You send that letter and resume to the person who's going to refer you in so that they can read it with you. You talk about your background and why you think you're a good fit. Part of your job is you're a salesperson. So you want to equip this person to be able to refer you in. And the place I would have them refer you first, because they're going to go 2 places, is to the hiring manager. Yeah, of course they're going to go to HR. That's the practice. We always want to follow the protocol. They'll get to that. You'll get to that. But you want them to send along your customized resume and cover letter to the hiring manager. And for them, and so that might be by email. And then they call the hiring manager and say, hey, I want you to know I sent a great candidate to you. I think they're a really good fit for your yada yada job. Give me a call and I'll tell you what I know about her. And so they are involved in the process of selling you. And what they're going to know about you is what you've told them. And they're going to have a copy of your resume and a copy of your cover letter. So if they need to talk about you, now that's the first place. So that's going right to the hiring manager, the decision maker. And you say to the hiring manager after that, yeah, and I will refer her directly into human resources. Yeah, we definitely want to follow protocol. And so you then refer into, because for you to get the employee referral fee, you have to be the first person who introduces that candidate. So they've got to be number one in introducing you. If some other recruiter somewhere along the line introduce you, that blows it. Got to be the first to introduce you. Now, generally that rule of thumb is 6 months, that introduction lasts for 6 months. That's one of the ways that companies try to keep their fees down. When a recruiter says, well, yeah, well, they sent you that candidate 4 months ago. I'm sending him to you now. You restarted this search. No, a company will say, no, we already knew about her. Okay. So let me stop here because we're going to switch in a minute to the next strategy. So Hannah, do you have some questions that came up?
Yes.
Hi, sorry, I thought you, so hi, my name is Zina. I have a quick question. Basically my question was, what if we send that intro email that you had suggested and we don't hear back from them? How long should we wait before we try to get a new contact, basically?
I'd wait no longer than a day. I might wait just a half a day.
Okay, perfect. That's what I thought.
Timing is important. You can't let this ad get old. So you're not going to wait 3 days for this person.
And do you suggest that we contact one person to start with? Because what I had happened to me, this guy said he's going to forward my resume to a hiring manager that he's been in touch with me for a few days, but at the end, nothing really happened. So do you think we just stick with one contact to start with? Or do
I'd stick with one to start with, but I would go, thanks, Joe, really appreciate. When do you think you'll get to send my resume? And I'll get to it by this afternoon. Okay. Then email me back so that I know it has been sent so that I stay on top of it.
Wonderful.
So what you're asking to do is hold Joe accountable. Now, if you don't hear from Joe later today, maybe about 6 o'clock, Joe just wanted to follow up with you, were you able to submit my resume? You don't hear from Joe by the morning, I already have somebody else in my hip pocket ready to go to reach out and say, hi, would you refer me in, please?
Okay, wonderful. I
Yeah,
really
you stay,
appreciate
this is boom, boom, boom. You got to stay on it, Zena, so you get it done.
Okay, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Susan, did you want to ask your question?
Yes, good morning, everyone. My question is, does the asking to be referred in LinkedIn or just going that route help with government jobs, municipal, state, federal?
No, government, well, it doesn't mean you can't be referred in. government jobs are much harder, and government has a religious protocol about them. You know, you've got to do this, you've got to do that, you got to do this. You've got to take an exam, you've got to have the KSAs, the knowledge, skills, and abilities that we need. I think what I would try to do is still be referred in and see if that gets you higher on the interview chain.
All right, thank you.
If you, and let me stay with this one for a minute. It is helpful, and this is hard in government to find. And this person might not be able to refer you in, but it's helpful if you can learn somewhere, and it might be from posts online, it might be from somebody's cousin who works in the department somewhere else, is what's the real hiring process like? And what would be an appropriate way in government in this particular agency to get the hiring manager's attention?
Okay.
And see what they can tell you, because you have to mix that into the quotient for how do I reach out to this government employee, this government hiring manager.
Okay. Yeah, it is hard. So I thank you for the advice.
Okay, Antoinette, would you like to ask your question?
Sure. Hi, Antoinette Fincala. All right, at your example, when you're sending this message to the person to refer you in, this is someone you don't know. This is someone that you've gone on LinkedIn.
Right.
You've seen, you know, you picked out people. In my case, I work in accounts payable. Usually the hiring manager is not on there. So I would go to maybe to the accounting manager, but this is someone I do not know. I'm going to send him the message through
Well, you
LinkedIn.
may or may not. It depends on where your contacts are. It doesn't matter whether you know them or not. It just depends that you develop a relationship so they refer you in.
Okay, all right. So okay, so if I don't know him, I'm just going to pick out a person, maybe the accounting manager, and send him that message, you know, that I'm applying for a position and I'd like to talk to him about it. And you said like a day and then move on to someone else.
Antoinette, you don't want to say, I want to talk about the position.
Okay. Oh, yeah, so you're interested in the company. Yes.
You're hitting them up for a job when you say those words, and they, oh,
Okay.
no, I don't want to talk. So if you go back, let me jump back a few. Come on.
Well, yeah, you said you're being referred increases my chance of being hired. So I mean,
That's right.
That's
so
what you said. Yeah.
What you're doing is just introducing, is it okay to talk to you?
Okay.
You're getting permission to talk to them about being referred in.
Okay.
Hi, yeah, I was just seeing, were there any alternative wordings to that initial message that we could use? Yeah, like if you had just another version of that possibly, or is there something else that we would say, or is it really just to be direct about the referral bonus?
Yeah, just a moment. And it's interesting you brought this up because you notice it doesn't say employee referral bonus, it says program, because someone, and who knows, Anthony, it might even been you, who gave me a hard time about, oh, I don't want it to be a bonus. I don't want to refer that they might imply they might make money from this. I don't want, you really want me to say 40%? Yeah, I do. I want you to be direct. I want you to get it on the table. I want to get you to get them to buy in. And if they're not part of that process, that can't buy into that, then go on to the next. You know, by the way, there are two types of communicators. There's ones who like to communicate indirectly, and there's ones who prefer to communicate more directly. I'm more directly. I'm definitely more directly. My late husband, he was more indirect. Drove me crazy. He wouldn't ask me. He wouldn't say, honey, would you make such and such for dinner tonight? He would say, so what do you want to have for dinner tonight? He'd lay it on me. He wouldn't offer anything. And he'd just ask, what do I want? Not that he was going to cook. I was going to cook, but that was his way of trying to influence me. I think you waste time by not being direct. This is a very powerful process. You're letting them know, hey, if you do this, then this is what I have a very good chance of having happen. And you lay it right. So if you don't like this wording, Anthony, sure, create your own script. In fact, I encourage you to create scripts. They're very important. They help you get precise about what you want to say and get smooth.
The other thing, if I could just add to that, is it's trial and error, right? And so personalize it. What Maya's sharing here is the intent of what you want to do. Use your own voice, right? Be direct about asking for what you know, and trial and error. Try saying it one way, then try saying it a different way for another person, and you see what works the best in terms of eliciting responses. So we're gonna have, if it's okay with you, Maya, 2 more questions, and then I'm gonna
Then
reserve.
we're going
the
to go
rest-
on. But
so
let me just
oh,
finish
sorry.
here. This may be a place for you to stretch yourself, Anthony, and add to your vocabulary and your communication style. Okay, go. Who's
Okay,
next?
thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Eliza.
Well, 2, and then we're gonna let Maya continue her presentation. So Martha and then Robert. So Martha, do you still want to ask your question?
My question has been answered. Thank you very much. Go ahead.
Wonderful. Thank you, Martha. Robert.
Yeah, thanks. I'm just interested, do you have any references to the claim that there's an increase of being hired by 40% with referrals?
I've lost it, and I don't always remember my sources. I believe, and this is not, I don't have that evidence. I believe the statistic came from LinkedIn. I believe. But see, I learned it this spring, or maybe it was early, sometime in the winter. And so I've been spewing this ever since then, and I forget where it came from. So I'm sorry I don't have that. Do an internet search and see what comes up.
Okay, thank you. Maya, let's continue. Can't wait to
All
hear
right.
what else. I know it.
Let's move on. So these are not 2 discrete activities. You can be doing both of these. The next one is I want you all to send me a check for $10,000, please, because I want you to know that I am giving away our best strategy. It's truly our signature strategy. It's called accessing the hiring manager. And I do swallow hard by giving this away, but I'm giving it away. So as you are trying to get referred in, you should also be working on this step called accessing the hiring manager. And that's just what it's about, is getting to the hiring manager. All right. So the hiring manager is the decision maker. I know there's HR, and I know there's going to be a team interview, and there even might be the boss's boss if you have to have a blessing interview. But the hiring manager is the decision maker. So that's the one you want to go after. And accessing the hiring manager, the technique I'm going to show you now, I haven't heard anyone that hasn't gotten an interview out of accessing the hiring manager. So it just about guarantees that you're going to get an interview. And it requires, talking about your skill sets and stretching yourself. It's going to take you to become a detective. You want to learn the hiring manager's name, email, phone number, title. You need to know the contact information for this person. So let's look at how you do that. You're first going to need to create a goodness of fit document. This technique, in both of them, but especially this one, only works when there's goodness of fit. Because you're going to create a document that shows the hiring manager what a good fit you are. And if they have 13 criteria and you only have 6 on the page, that's going to show he's a good fit. I mean, he's only got 6 of what we need. And this process is going to take you hours. And it's well worth it, but it's going to take you, this is not an hour and you bang this out. This is easily 3, 4, 5 hour process to be able to create a goodness of fit document. And you need a basic document that you'll then customize for different jobs. So let me show you that. Create a 3-column table. You know, put your name, address, phone number on it. And by the way, what we do in my company is the heading that we use on your resume, that's your name and your contact information, is the same heading that we put on your cover letters, on your references, and at the top of your goodness of fit document. That way, all 4 of those documents look like coordinated stationery. And if you're doing business cards, we use those same fonts and design to create the business card as well. So it's a very nice look. It's a more polished, more professional look. So, put your heading on it. And then the 3 columns are, on the left-hand column, you're going to put the job responsibilities. What are their requirements? What are they needing? What are those A, B, C's, and D's of the job? You need to have this, you need to have that, you need to have that, then, and, get down and, and Spanish is preferred. Okay, so there are all those duties, responsibilities, or the company's requirements. Your middle column, number 2, is going to be the titles where you perform that requirement and the companies where you performed that requirement. And it's just going to be, okay, at Hoffman LaRoche, I did this, or, at ADP, I was the AP coordinator. Okay, so you list your name and title. Now I'm going to give a little proviso here for you. Unless it's helpful, you may want to consider eliminating the middle column if you've only worked in one company and one industry for your lifetime. And that's because the company may judge, oh, she's only been in telecom, that's all she knows is telecom? Yeah, I see she's had a bunch of roles, but she only knows, and it's AT&T. You don't want that response. However, you're going to see in the example I gave you, this person's career is in Hoffman LaRoche in pharmaceutical, and that's a real asset for him. So he left the column because it worked to sell him to other pharmaceuticals. He was going from big pharma to small pharma. And then the last column is where you're going to briefly describe your experience. And here's the important thing, the impact that you made. What are the results you produced? What did you achieve? Did you improve the quantity or quality of work? Did you streamline systems? Did you find costly errors? Did you reduce costs, bring in money, increase customer satisfaction? Improve, and some things can be listed one of 2 ways. Either you improved or reduced. So you either improved safety or reduced accidents. You either reduced costs or you brought in money. So, what's the real impact that you made? Now, this document may go on, and here's an example of how it could look. The blue, I don't know why it's blue. It transferred blue. I couldn't get rid of the blue, so it's blue. But I would have it be colored on your document. But there's a job requirement from the actual job ad. Here's where he worked. Here was his title. Here is what he accomplished. It's relevant to his field. It's relevant to his industry. The person understood, okay, this is what he did. Now you go on down to the next one. You do the same thing again. In this case, this worked for him. And then you tell what you did that made a difference. What was your experience? So this may be 4 pages long. That's okay. This is not a resume that you got to keep to 1 or 2 pages. This is your goodness of fit document. This is showing, hey, you have this job and you have all these requirements. Wow, my good fit. Let me show you how. And let me show you what a good fit I am. This document should only be used strategically. You do not just send this along to someone to impress them. You send it to the right person at the right moment to open doors for you to impress them. So I wouldn't submit my resume, cover letter, and goodness of fit document and send it online to the recruiter, because the recruiter is going to look at this and go, oh yeah, that's a really great candidate. I really like. You're wasting it. This is only to be used strategically. All right, so I already went there. Now, let me talk about this technique that I'm teaching you. Has multiple prongs coming out of it. This technique can be used to get the interview that you want, the one you really want to have, because this gets right to the hiring manager, sells you to the hiring manager, gets you there. But where this originated, I think it was 2002 or 2003. I was working with a woman who was a director of marketing. No, she was a marketing manager, was applying for a director position in a company and had already applied, and the recruiter recalled her and was interviewing her. And at the end of the discussion, the recruiter said, no, you're not qualified for this job. Her reaction was, what? She says, hell no, I'm not. She said, I'll send you a document that just shows you how well qualified I am. It took her hours. She got off the call and she created, because she was my client, we were working together, this goodness of fit document. Sent it back to the recruiter saying, let me use this to show you how well I fit your job. He called her back. He apologized. He said, you're definitely right. You're qualified to do this job. Let me get you an interview. But she used it strategically. She used it to break down a barrier. That's kind of the additional aspects of a goodness of fit document and how you can use it. But let me show you its main intent. All right, I just talked about you could use it to overcome resistance. Its main intent is to wow the hiring manager. And that's going to get you an interview. Every client that has told me that they got to the hiring manager and had a discussion with the hiring manager has secured an interview. Whether they stay in the interview is another thing, but they got the interview. I've had clients use it to extend the duration of the interview. I'll tell you about that. It could be used with your first thank you, because then you know something about the job. You've interviewed, you can tweak your goodness of fit document, because now you know some stuff. And that generally, this is a wow document. This knocks the hiring manager's socks off. They don't see this. They're going, wow. And it's your work product. You're really showing that you're willing to put in the work to get this job to stand out and make a difference. It's an example of how you operate on the job. Or you could use it. I had a client who I had worked with, and then she, was off doing her research, and when she was in a job, and she decided to go for another job. And she called me and she said, Maya, I just had the most wonderful final interview for this job. I gotta have this job. What trick do you have up your sleeves for me? I said, well, have you used a goodness of fit document? And she said, oh, no. So she got off the phone, and of course, it was going to go with her last thank you. And she called her husband and said, really good interview, and I'm working on my thank you note. He comes home an hour later and she's still working on her thank you note. So he thinks. Hours later, she's still working on it. He said, what's going on? Why is this taking so long? She said, no, leave me alone. She was working on her goodness of fit document that she could send with her last thank you to really knock their socks off. Now, this is the last interview. That means there were 2 or 3, she was one of 2 or 3 candidates to be considered in this last pool of candidates. She wanted to tip that opportunity to her favor so that she would clinch an offer and get the job. And she did. It worked for her. So although its main intent is right here to wow the hiring manager, it continues to wow in other ways, but again, strategically. So let's see how you do this. First of all, it's got to be a great job for which you're a good fit. We generally believe in my company, if you're not a good fit, don't even apply because you're wasting your time. There other candidates who are a good fit are going to apply and they'll be ahead of you. So either, 75% or better. That's our principle. Now you got to become the detective and identify the hiring manager's name, title, email address, and phone number. So it means that you spend some of that time doing the digging and the looking, and there are email lookup services, there are email verification services. So there's all kinds of lookups that you can do. So you got to become a detective. And again, LinkedIn is really good. I'm trying to identify, I'm not trying to reach out to, I'm just trying to identify the hiring manager's name, title, email address, phone number. Can you help me identify who is this man or woman? Okay, so become a detective. Do that work. You're going to customize all of your documents, and you're going to send an email that does not do a lot of selling, just does enticing, and it's going to have these elements in it. Hi, Harriet, I found yada yada job on your website, and I'm a great fit for it. I've enclosed my resume, cover letter, and goodness, a fit for you. Now, I don't want to waste your time and my time either. So, I have a quick question for you. I'll call you tomorrow to ask that question. It's boom, 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 boom. You're just late now. First of all, you say, and you would spell out goodness of fit. They're going to go, goodness of fit. They're going to open up that document and go, wow. And either they're going to call you or you're going to call. So, you want to call first thing in the morning. You want to call about 10:30 in the morning after meetings are over. You could try lunchtime or you could try after 4. Those are times often when you'll find the hiring manager available. All right, so you've got all your documents here. You then, let me get on to you're going to call the next day. And if you don't get the hiring manager, then leave the voicemail that just says what you previously said in the email. Oops, I'm sorry, it's not getting. Sorry, it's I'm not pressing the right thing. So here. You want to include found the great job. As I said, I've found a great job. I'm a great fit. I've put together my resume, cover letter, and goodness of fit document for you. I don't want to waste your time. I've got a quick question. I'm calling you now. I'm available for the rest of the day. Here's my phone number. Look forward to talking to you. So this is all. Don't go into selling yourself to the hiring. You're trying to tease the hiring manager to want to talk to you. You're always wanting to get to the next step. Email isn't as good as a phone call. A phone call isn't as good as meeting on Zoom. A Zoom isn't as good as meeting in person. You're always trying to get to the next personal level with the person to cultivate the relationship. So call the next day. Thanks for taking my call, Bill. As you can see, I'm a great fit for your job, but I don't want to waste your time. Can you help me understand, how do you see the job, Bill? What are the key duties of the job, the challenges I'll face, and what do you want me to accomplish in the first 3 to 6 months? Key duties, challenges, and want me to accomplish, and you decide the time frame, 1 to 3 months, first month, first year, I don't care. Whatever works for you in your kind of role. What I haven't read here, key duties, challenges, want me to accomplish. You're asking Bill to describe the job to you. Yes, it's in writing in the job description, but this is it through Bill's, own words. This is the stuff. This is the A, B, C's, and D's of the job. This is what you should speak to. This is what he's going to hire you to do. So let's go on to the next level. This is going to be one of two things. And you're going to have to, and if he called you, but if you call in, you don't know if he's busy or not. And you could ask, this is, Maya Ollson, I applied for the yada yada position. Do you have a couple minutes to talk? So you could test it out that way. If a hiring manager doesn't have a lot of time now, key duties, challenges, goals you want me to accomplish. Those three things can either be a very short conversation or can be a lengthy 3-part conversation. You're going to have to gauge with the hiring manager and where he or she is. So if they go, here's the key duties, and all you can say is, oh, that's great. That's the kind of work I find exciting. Fine. If that's all you get in, that's fine. And then he tells you the challenges, and you would say, yeah, I certainly know those kinds of headaches. And if you can, you'd say, let me tell you a time where but if he's in a rush, yeah, I certainly know those headaches, and I'd be happy to tackle those for you. And the key duties, the goals in the first 3 to 6 months, you go, I definitely can make a commitment to complete those for you. If there's more time and he's talking about the key duties, and there can be a back and forth and you can talk, take advantage. This becomes a mini slice of an interview that holds the hiring manager to want to go deeper. You're not going to do it all on the phone here, probably not. But it gives you that hold into the hiring manager that they want to continue part 2. So if you can keep them longer, but you then, and that's why it's in red, you want to ask for the conversation by asking for an interview. This principle is important at each step of the way in the job search. You are always asking for the next step. If you've sent in your resume and the recruiter calls you to discuss your background, at the end of that conversation, you're going to say, this is an exciting opportunity. I'd be interested in it. When can I speak with the hiring manager? You're always pushing the envelope for the next opportunity. You're a salesperson. That's part of your responsibility as a salesperson. So ask for the next step. I probably, in this discussion, would ask for it this way. Thanks, Bill. I was right. This is a great fit. It's work that I find exciting. It's work that I excel at, and I understand some of the complexities and the challenges that I'll be facing. I'd like to come in and meet with you in person if you're interested in meeting me. And then I'm quiet because I just asked for an interview. And I'm leaving it. And one of 3 things happens. Hiring manager schedules you. Hiring manager gives you to their admin to schedule you. Or the hiring manager says, when we get off this call, I want you to call HR and tell them to put you on the schedule for this job. That's what happens over and over and over in this process. And you notice it took some work to get here. This is not you just walk in, you do it, and it's done. You've earned your way to get that interview. You are now standing out from all of the other people in the crowd. Now, let me tell you, I don't recommend this, but someone asked for evidence. I'll tell you about the evidence. I have some, and it's, handfuls, not a lot, of clients. Now, these are usually more savvy, more sophisticated, more experienced, senior manager or director level people who feel confident doing this, that do a one strategy search. This strategy. They find jobs for which they are a good fit. They prepare a customized resume, cover letter, and goodness of fit document. They become a detective and find the hiring manager. They send all their documentation to the hiring manager. They call the hiring manager so that they can have a conversation and they get an interview. One client claims, I would get into 3 or 4 companies in 3 or 4 months and have a job. I don't recommend a one strategy search, but some people have said they've used just that for their job search. But this is a very powerful document. Now I'm going to go back because I want to get to. All right. So I told you about the woman who used it to overcome the resistance for to wow the recruiter and get them to back down and say, you're just hearing me talk about this is to wow the hiring manager. And it really does. It really wows them. To extend the duration of the interview. Now, we used to use this a lot, and you have to figure out how to do it electronically these days when most interviews pre-COVID were in person. At the end of the interview, you'd have your goodness of fit document on very nice paper, just like I recommend you put it on, because the quality feel of the paper implies quality candidate. You hand them at as you're getting ready, to kind of leave the interview and say, let me leave you my goodness of fit document. I have candidates tell me over and over again, as the hiring manager gets it, puts it in the hands. Now, electronically, you got to send this so that, and hope that they have their computer available, but certainly they could also look on their phone. I sent you my goodness of fit document. Why don't you take a look at it? And what it does is it extends the duration of the interview. The hiring manager starts talking about, well, no, don't go. Or gather your information and tweak it after that first interview to secure a second, or use it as and that happened to be a director of HR who used it to clinch the job with her final thank you note. But it works. It takes some work. It's a strategy that's going to make the difference. Going to make a difference. So you want to maximize your chance of getting that interview? Then work for it. Get referred in, or wow the hiring manager with the goodness of fit document. Do both of those things, and you'll be operating at a higher level in your search using strategic tactics that pay off, that get you in front of the hiring manager. Now, I have contact information on the last sheet. I'll review that in a little while, but let me shut up and open the floor for questions or comments.
We have a lot of questions. That
I
was
bet.
great. But I am going to, and it's up to you, Maya. Do you want to keep the presentation up, or do you want to have sort of like a gallery view when we talk about
All right,
questions?
here, then let me just quickly finish what I was going to say, and then we'll move on. Okay, so on the last slide, it has where you can find me, email address and phone number. As I already said, send me a LinkedIn invitation. I'd be happy to receive it so that you can take advantage of all of the contacts that I have. And I offer free resume reviews, and they're not a sales pitch. I'll spend 40 minutes with you talking about what you can do to strengthen your resume. And it's twofold. It's formatting, because it's got to be able to get through the applicant tracking system. But I'll definitely know it'll be content that you need a really strong, it's your primary sales document. So I haven't found a resume yet that I couldn't make some recommendations on. And I have a job search workbook. That's the one that someone said is the best job search workbook in the marketplace these days. So it's the road to job search success. To job seekers, I sell it for $30, and that includes shipping. You've got to come to me to purchase it because it's not online. I don't sell this one online anymore. But that's where you want to know where I am. You want my help. And I do. I work with individuals as well. So if someone feels like, geez, I really could use your help, please just send me an email or give me a call and we'll talk about how we can work together.
Okay, thank you. So I'll just keep you pinned also so that people can see you, Maya, and then they can see other people as well. So I'm going to tell the order of how the questions came in, but I'm actually going to be able to answer the first one. So the first one and the last one. So Lucy and Howard asked a similar question, which was about, sort of if you're using LinkedIn and you don't have premium, how do you have a limit of how many people you can reach out to, sort of how do you proceed? And, Howard asked a question about how do you find people's phone numbers? So what I wanted to do was say that Cynthia Fischel, thank you so much. You put in the chat for everybody, and everybody go look at Cynthia's chat that she put in about resources of how to look up people's emails. Okay. Great. So I just wanted to get ahead of that one because it's not as relevant to what Maya is going to be sharing with us. So, if you don't have LinkedIn Premium, it's okay. There's other ways going on company websites or Cynthia, thank you very much. You provided some really cool resources for everyone. Okay.
And I think it's worth, if you keep bumping into that barrier with LinkedIn, it's worth spending the money on the premium. You get it for the first month free. And while you're job searching, that may be you have to invest some money so that you're successful in your search. So,
okay.
Then that's the tool that you need.
So Rob Forsyth, because I realized there were two Robs who asked questions.
Yeah, okay, thanks. So on the referral process, say you don't, you can't reach somebody through the referral in the company, but you know who the hiring manager is. You think you do, but they don't know you, obviously. Sending them directly a message, and I did this through LinkedIn Premium, sending them my resume, cover letter, and a whole, my spiel about why I'm a good fit for the job. That's what I did. I was going through an old boss of mine. I found a contact at first, but I thought he was still working there, but he's not. He stopped working there last year. So I said, you know what? I think I already know who the hiring manager is. I'm just going to bypass him and go directly to her. What do you think about that?
Well, sure. If it gets you in, you're not referred in, so you don't have the weight of someone else that the hiring manager knows. And, had you not, if this was coming up in the future, I'd say add a goodness of fit document to it, because that's going to really make you stand out to the hiring manager. How long ago did you do this, and did you get any results from it so far?
I did it yesterday.
Okay, so you need a little more time. So you may, let me see, yesterday was Wednesday. If you haven't heard back by Monday, I might send him an email and say, just wanted to make sure that you received my yada, yada, yada. I'm a great fit for the job and would love to talk to you about, what difference I can make in your department. You do a little selling of yourself and follow up, so that you stay on their radar screen. You're trying to be remembered and you're trying to be referred. So you're past the referral stage with this guy. So try to stay on being remembered.
Right. I guess because was looking at her profile. I didn't see an email on her profile. Now I guess maybe go through. If I want to send her an email, I want to go directly to the company maybe and find out.
Well, if you look at the company's website, if you look at their annual report, sometimes in press releases, they'll give you the email configuration. And if you know her name, you know the configuration, and so it'll come back to you if it's not the right person. So,
Gotcha.
Do it that way.
Gotcha. Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, Chad, did you want to ask your question?
Yes. Thank you, Maya, for presenting this information. It's been really helpful.
You're welcome.
So I have noticed in some of the you know, when I have been able to get in touch with somebody, I do really love this refer in, where some companies don't accept applications except online. So
Yeah.
if the company requires it, and I've run into this for part-time jobs, sorry. Is there a certain point at which you should wait until they, you know, they tell you to apply online, or some way for them to look for it?
I'm missing a piece here, Chad.
Meaning the only way to submit a resume or be considered for a job is if you go through the online application process.
No,
So
wait,
would
this is
I wait
this
to
is
do
beyond
that?
the online. You can still do this. You can use either of these regardless of the online process.
Right,
So
but would you wait to would you wait to put your application, to fill out the online application until after you've kind of gotten some?
yeah, I would try to get to them first and reassure them that you'll definitely follow the protocol. You understand that, you know, they want it online, you know, that'll be your next step, but you wanted to try to reach the hiring manager first so that they know of your interest and your excitement. You always want to show your excitement. That's one of the things employers criticize candidates for. You don't act excited, and that's probably because you're nervous.
Got it. Thank you so much.
Okay.
No, I just like to add to this because I thought that was a really, really good question that I personally have been confused about when I've been doing it. And so I have used this when I've reached out to someone to apply for a job and, got them to refer me in. And then they said, okay, now you have to apply online still for it to be in the system. I'm like, okay, got it. So just to clarify, what Maya is saying is reversing the order. The first step is to get the referral in. It doesn't mean you don't apply online. It's the order in which you do it. If I could clarify if that helps. Because I also so you don't want to apply online and then go searching for someone. You want to first search for someone, then and make a relationship and then apply online. Did I get that right, Maya? Yeah, okay, thank you. Okay, and that's like I keep on saying, that's a game changer. Like, that's such a game changer. Okay. So Jamie Phillips, so you, a lot of people, some people have had 11s and had to go, but we'll just see, is Jamie still on the line here?
Yes, I am.
Okay, go for
Can
it.
you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, Maya. Thank you so much for this helpful presentation. I've done some of the reaching out ahead of times, and maybe I've done this more in like a lukewarm way. So this is a much more powerful way to do it. But I'm wondering, I work in nonprofit, and it just seems like so many times I go to these, workshops and whatnot. It just seems like so corporate focused. And I know you're going to say, yes, do the same thing in the nonprofit sector, but I think some nonprofits would be like, what is this? Like, this is a lot. Who is this person? So what were your intentions when you're putting this out there? For what industries? Does it matter? I just wanted to get your take on it because I feel like
Okay, I'm not putting it out for any industry. I'm putting it out as a strategy that works, but yeah, no. So if you are overwhelming the agency,
right.
then my guess is that might be a small agency that's not very worldly. And you could be seen as too much, too high powered, and they'd go, oh, what's her? So I would, if I were applying to nonprofits, I'd want to talk to a couple of people who work in the nonprofit so I have a sense of what's the culture, how do they hire people, what it's like. And I would always still, the higher you go, the better. So in a nonprofit,
Right.
I'd probably go for who's ever, president of the organization and get referred down into it if you had to. I think a goodness of fit document will knock lots of people's socks off. And
Sure.
it definitely is a more business approach.
Mm-hmm.
And Getting referred in, I think you could soften it and have somebody refer you in. If it's a not very corporate or business focused nonprofit, so that you water it down some, you quiet it
Right.
down some, so it's not quite as impressive, but you can still use the power of it. So you might
Right.
ask permission, I have a goodness of fit document. Would you like to see that?
Right.
It'll show you
Okay.
how well I fit your job. So you might have to ask your way in for an organization that's not high powered or used to high power. And
Mm,
there's lots of good high powered,
Sure.
nonprofits.
Oh, yeah.
So you
Some
have to
hospitals are
understand the culture.
nonprofits.
So
Yeah.
you're gearing it to what they need, and you quiet it down some, so it's still an ally for you. You can use it,
Mhm.
but it doesn't knock, you can't knock their underwear
Yeah.
off too. Socks, yes, underwear, no.
Yeah, I mean, otherwise they'll just think, what does this person think? Like, this is,
Yeah.
we're a small nonprofit, we're not a
Yeah.
business. So, but thank you for taking the question. I appreciate it.
Later, if she's still on. Martha, did you want to ask your question?
Hi, Maya. I think this is a great set of suggestions, but I speak for all the women, the moms on this call, about having just had an interview and being told that I don't have enough supervisory experience, although have raised 2 kids successfully. How would you work that into a goodness of fit document?
Okay. Well, the first question I ask is, are you a good fit? Because that's what you're raising, that you may not be a good fit. And you can't make a goodness of fit document work for a job you're not qualified for. But I hear the intent. So let me go there. I'm not so your resume is your primary sales document. It needs to be written toward a type of job ad. You're doing accounts payable, okay? You're doing customer service. You're doing logistics. It's focused on a particular, and those are field, a particular role. And if you want to go into supervision or management, your resume, and that's why you got to work with somebody who will help you do this. Your resume needs, where you can, you pull out all of the supervisory experiences that you, even if it's one day, a few hours, whatever it is, so that those words could be peppered into your resume, so you don't get well, you don't have enough supervisory experience. And it might be that you don't. And if you don't, then what you do is make sure in this next round, is there a part-time job you can do? Can you volunteer where you would be a supervisor? So that can be, that's resume is your primary sales document, and it has to open doors for you. And if it's not, it might not be well written enough. It may not be showing your experience enough, or you may need to have to go get more experience to get to that next level, because you're not yet a goodness of fit for that job.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, Howard, did you have another question?
Yeah, this is Howard. Thank you for the presentation. My question is on the goodness of fit document. How long is too long? And when you list the different columns, should you then put them into like a PowerPoint presentation, and save as a PDF, or what type of platform should you actually put it in? Because the example you gave was, really nice. It looked actually almost like a type of PowerPoint presentation almost. So I wasn't sure.
Well,
Which
no,
one?
it was a
What to
table.
do? Can you use an Excel? Can you just put it into an Excel format too, or?
Well, I don't know. You choose.
Okay.
There's no rules about this. This is a table. This
Okay.
is, and all of mine are tables that, and 4 pages, 5 pages, whatever.
Okay.
The thing becomes, here's your requirements. And if they need 13 requirements and you only have 11, then you put in your 11, because
Okay.
you don't want them seeing, oh, she doesn't have anything for Spanish and she doesn't have anything for, budgeting. So if you don't have it, it doesn't go on the page, but there has to be enough of them. And then either you'll have your title column or you'll embed that in the other one, quietly in the other one, if you don't want them to see you've only been in one industry or one company. So it
Okay.
might be, but, and you'll have that. If that's strong enough, then that's fine. And if that takes 4 pages, it takes 5 pages. I've not done it as a PowerPoint. I've done it as a table with heading on it, and to be able to be sent with the resume and cover letter so that the employer has those 3 documents together.
Okay, I do have a quick follow-up, which is also on the, do you recommend also saving them in the format that you make them, whether it be like a Word document or a PDF document? I mean, when you go to send them over to them, or does it matter?
I think it's up to you, you know, a PDF locks it in. I don't think someone's gonna go around and cheat and try to steal your document, but if you're concerned about that, do it as a PDF.
I was looking more of just an ease of reading. That's that type of thing.
Well, I don't know that it's easy to read one or the other. To me, they read the same, no matter what I look at.
And then the last question I had, sorry about this, but I've been a business owner for 25 years, looking to kind of reposition myself. And so, unlike, you used the example before of the person in one that only worked for one company. When I do the document, should I skip the fact that I've, instead of trying to be repetitive, that it's actually these are the qualifications I have because I've done this for 25 years as a business owner.
Yeah, I think you can get away with 2 columns. They're
Okay.
gonna wanna know where you did it. So in the far right column under experience, you might put, either the company name and owner or director, or, I own my company, I call myself director. I mean, I'm the founder, but I just direct the show. So that's what I use. But
Okay.
I don't need fancy titles, but you put it so that it's discreet and quiet, so it doesn't scream. He's only run his own business. He's only been in one industry. He's only been in one company. So just try to package it on the form so that it looks quiet.
Okay.
There's some things you want to quiet on your resume. I think the title and the company name, you want quiet.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
And this may jump on your resume may need to be a functional resume to sell you well. I'm not sure a chronological is going to sell you.
Okay. Well, I plan on sending, I plan on actually sending you my resume to critique.
Okay, so we'll talk about it. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions? We'll just give it a minute, put it in the chat if you have another question for Maya. What I loved is that, Maya, as you were delivering the webinar and answering questions, people in the chat helped each other out with different things as well. I just
That's
absolutely
great.
love this group. Yeah.
Great.
It's so good. Okay, so I think we're going to wrap up. And Maya, I just want to thank you so much. Such useful tips and little strategies for everyone. I encourage you to buy her book. I will be sending out the presentation again, either probably tomorrow. I'll be sending out the email with Maya's contact information and a PDF of the presentation. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Maya. And I also want to thank our generous sponsors, the Jewish Federation of Greater Metro West and Project M. And our next session will be after Rosh Hashanah on Thursday, October 10th. It's Strengthen Your Storytelling in Interviews with Gail Tilstra from Dress for Success. So that's going to be really exciting. So I want to wish everyone who observes and celebrates Shana Tova Umatuka, a sweet and happy new year.